She loved how he was emotionless until her mom was in the hospital due to heart surgery and she wanted him to comfort her, but he physically couldn't cause he was so empty inside. I sell burritos in a horror game. All the ghosts would come to my place and buy a tasty burrito after they got off work. That was until one day, my ex-husband, who was obsessed with abusing me, joined the game as a player. He brought a group of people to my store and trashed the place. They ruined all the ingredients I had. When the bosses finished their overtime and saw their pre-ordered burritos on the ground in pieces, their eyes became dark and they were immediately infuriated. The patchwork monster was so angry that the stitches on its body were beginning to break. It started ripping the players apart. The 8-armed maiden's hair fanned out and pierced many players. The wedding dress maiden suddenly became a giant and started eating the players one by one. The bosses were willing to work overtime and maintain the operations of the dungeons overnight just so that they could have a burrito. That night, all the players were sleeping when they were forced to join a horror game. On the first day I arrived in the horror game, a man in a suit asked what skills I had. I thought for a whole day and night and said, "I'm good at making burritos." The man facepalmed himself, a bit speechless, but he still gave me a storefront and allowed me to sell burritos. After handing me the key, he disappeared. I spent half a day cleaning the shop and then returned to the real world to buy necessities. After preparing everything, I opened for business when the blood-red moon rose. Perhaps the place was too remote, as several hours passed and no one came. I cheered myself up. Good wine needed no bush. There's no rush. My stomach growled twice at the worst possible moment. I decided to make a burrito for myself first. I flattened a flour tortilla on a hot griddle. Once the aroma wafted out, I started adding ingredients to it before putting the burrito into the oven. Coincidentally, this shop had everything: griddle, oven, sausage roaster, nothing was missing. Other than being a bit dusty, it was practically tailor-made for selling burritos. Could the previous owner have sold burritos too? I shook my head. This is a horror game. I should happy that there aren't any severed limbs around. How could anyone be selling burritos here? Timing it precisely, I skillfully took the burrito out of the oven. By then, the burrito had been roasted to a sizzling, fragrant perfection. Wearing gloves, I brushed on the secret sauce and added lettuce. I took out some beef from the roaster and added them. I added diced radish and pickled vegetables. A delicious, fragrant burrito was finished, but it still felt a bit lacking, so I took out some tortilla chips and salsa. When I took the first bite, I exclaimed, "Yummy." It seemed that I still got it in me. I enjoyed the food, completely unaware that the aroma drifting out of the shop had attracted a passing entity. When a pair of embroidered shoes appeared at the entrance, I felt the whole shop grow noticeably colder. It felt as if the air conditioning had been turned on. It was actually quite comfortable. Suddenly, a chilling voice sounded by my ear. "What are you eating? It smells so nice." I subconsciously stood up to greet the customer. "Welcome. This is the shop's signature special, the deluxe burrito. Would you like to?" I looked around but saw no one. Yet I could clearly feel that someone was standing right in front of me. I then continued where I left off. "Would you like one?" As soon as I finished speaking, a small hand struggled to raise a pouch of silver from beneath the counter. "I'll have one, please." I stood on tiptoe and leaned over to look, only to see a little girl in a red bridal dress gazing up at me with wide, expectant eyes. Oh, so it wasn't that no one was there. She had just been too short. I weighed the silver. There were at least 10 taels. This kid was unbelievably generous. I picked up the smallest piece of broken silver and returned the rest to her. "This is enough." After that, I started making the burrito. Seeing how thin and tiny the little girl looked, my heart ached for her. I added more fillings right away. I only stopped when the fillings were overflowing. I threw in everything without hesitation. All the fillings that I could think of. At last, a burrito bigger than her face appeared. Because I added so many ingredients, it even tore open in several places, leaking every now and then. I handed the burrito to the little girl. "Is it enough? You can eat me if it isn't." The little girl stared, shocked, at the mountain-sized burrito and pondered for a long time, not knowing where to start. But apparently, that didn't trouble her for long. Her body suddenly swelled, her mouth split open all the way to her ears, and dense teeth filled the gaping maw. With one bite, she swallowed the entire burrito. Crunching and grinding sounds came from her mouth. Muffled, she said, "What delicacy is this? It's way too good." I slowly gave her a thumbs up and exclaimed, "Impressive." It was the first time anyone had eaten my super deluxe mega burrito in one go. I was so moved that tears welled up in my eyes. I wanted 100 customers like her. The next day, the little girl brought several friends. Although her friends all looked strange and grotesque, there was a hanged ghost dragging an extra long ton, a water ghost soaked from head to toe, and a pile of bloodied meat paste. But the one thing they shared was that they all wore identical red bridal dresses. I felt sorry for them, so I made each of them a super deluxe mega burrito, the kind with loads of ingredients. The little girls ate with their cheeks puffed out. "Ma'am, this burrito was too good. I had never eaten anything so delicious." "Me too." The little girls let down their guard with me. From chatting, I learned that they had all been tied up by villagers and sacrificed to the river god. No wonder some had been hanged and others drowned. My heart ached for them even more. I made each of them 3 more burritos so they could take them back into their dungeon instance. You can come at any time if you want to eat my burritos. I'll make them for you for free. The little girls laughed, satisfied, even saying they would help spread the word. What kind and thoughtful children. I hadn't expected them to really bring me customers. By afternoon, my shop was already full of entities, and in the kitchen I wished I could grow 8 arms like an octopus. Every customer who ate was completely conquered by the delicious burritos and began advertising the place on their own. Just like that, my burritos became famous throughout the horror game. Every entity would come after getting off work to eat a fragrant, sizzling burrito from my shop. Freshly made tortilla wrapping a ton of juicy fillings. One bite delivered a critical hit of flavor. A creature covered head to toe in eyeballs exclaimed, "Only after tasting something this good does life feel worth living." My business grew better and better, and the ingredients I prepared were never enough, so I began making frequent trips to the real world to restock. Soon, some players noticed me. It was because I always managed to come out of the horror game alive. They wanted to invite me to team up with them. I refused without hesitation. Although I was a player, I had never entered a single dungeon. I only ran my burrito shop. I guessed I must have been a special kind of player. To keep this secret and avoid being dragged away for dissection and research, I had no choice but to hide whenever I saw players. But that day, more than a dozen players walked into my burrito shop. My shop was far from any dungeon, so they must have wandered in by accident. I hid under the counter, waiting for them to leave on their own. They wore identical clothing and all wore masks. They should have been a team. At first, the players were extremely cautious of everything around them. A sausage in the sausage roaster burst with a pop, startling them badly. Everyone grabbed their weapons and began firing wildly. In an instant, flames shot across the shop, and the store I had carefully decorated turned into ruins. The sausage roaster was blown away, and the tables and chairs were blasted into pieces. After discovering that there was no danger and no NPCs, they removed their masks and slumped onto the floor. "Looks like an undeveloped dungeon. Boss, we can rest for a bit." The leader nodded and also removed his mask. My eyes widened. It was actually my ex-husband, Jack Chase. A wave of terror hit me. Old wounds ached faintly. I fell back onto the floor, knocking over the stool behind me. Jack immediately became alert and moved toward the counter. The moment he saw me, his eyes lit up. The next second, someone used an item on me, and my whole body became immobilized. I could see and hear, but I couldn't speak. Other players gathered around to tease him. "Hey, boss found a pretty chick. After you're done, let us have some fun too." Jack glared at that man. "This is my damn wife." The bitch ran off with another man, and I didn't expect to catch her here. He saw the burrito on the counter and let out a mocking laugh. "So you even opened a shop here and started a light? Tell me, who's the man you cheated with?" With that, he picked up a weapon, smashed the counter, and threw the burrito I had just made onto the ground. He even stomped on it several times. "Sorry, due to copyright issues I am unable to continue updating the next chapter. If you like the book, if you like this book, search 636822 on Good Novel to read this book. You're coming with me. How to read part 2, type the lower left corner of the video, download it, search my code to follow.